What is up, guys? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going to show the live interview that I did with Al Milgrom back last year, July 2nd, 2023, over at Hershey Con. Had the opportunity to talk to him a little bit about the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine project that him and Chris Claremont worked on. This is a highlight that we're showing this week because John and I over on Omni X-men, we've been breaking down those issues, the 6-issue miniseries of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. So if you guys have ever read those from the mid-'80s, that's kind of where we're at with Omni X-men. If you guys are not following along, you certainly should. Check out the links in the description below for some of the past episodes that we've done. Next Tuesday, we'll be back, discussing the last 2 issues of that. So really excited. That'll be here on this channel, Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern. But yeah, I had the opportunity to hang out with Al Milgrom, talk with him a little bit, and I brought the omnibus with me and had him not only sign it, but go over some of the different issues or the covers that he did as part of this omnibus, which happened to be the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine stuff. So it was really, really great. Al, if you're ever watching this, thank you so much, man, for giving me the time and to just sharing all those wonderful stories that you did about this series and about some of your career. It really was a blast hanging out with you. So again, I'm going to let you guys just watch this from here. Reminder to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Always appreciate that. And like I said before, we'll be breaking down the last 2 issues of the 6-issue miniseries on Omni X-men here on this channel next Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern. So heads up for that as well. Really looking forward to it. But here's the video. I did some editing involved with it just to show you some of the book references or some of the covers that Al talks about as well. So you'll see that in here. But let me know what you think in the comment section below and enjoy the video. All right, Al, so...
Yeah. Is this running?
Yeah.
Hello. Al Milgrom here.
Me and my friend John,
Yes.
we had started a show over the past 3 years where we call ourselves the Omni X-men. And we break down one issue every week. We do like a season long, every week from the different various volumes. Now, we had just finished the 3rd season, which is that book down there.
Okay.
We're about to get into this one in October. This is our next book.
Okay.
And even I just opened it, so I haven't even read anything here yet, but I see that you're on here, listed here with, and and it starts with 176.
Okay.
Along with all these other pieces of artwork.
Oh, well, the reason I'm on here, may I interrupt?
Yeah, no.
Is the Kitty Pryde Wolverine limited series, 6 issues, right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's
okay.
why my name's on there. Because I did I worked on everything at Marvel, sort of.
Right.
But mostly the X-Men, I was mostly just called in to do like some fill-in inks when there was a deadline crisis.
Oh, okay.
And I remember complaining to Louise Simonson, that I want to work on some X-Men stuff because they were paying royalties at the time, or Marvel called them incentives, which was based on sales. And the X-Men was the best-selling book Marvel was doing. And so if you worked on an X-Men title, you got more money. And if you're going to be doing the work anyway, you might as well get paid more money for it, of course.
Yeah.
So I was going, where? I never get to do the X-Men. And she said, well, you want to maybe do like an X-Men, like a limited series or something? And I said, absolutely. And she talked to Chris Claremont. I don't know what went on. I wasn't involved in the discussion. But she said, hey, Chris, Al Milgrom was in here bitching about the fact that he never gets to work on the X-Men. And how about, you want to do like a mini-series with Al? And Chris, who was the most popular writer, bar none, at the time, doing the X-Men, popular as hell, did it with John Byrne, did it with Paul Smith, did it with John Romita Jr. I mean, he just had a string of some of the very best pencilers in the business, and Terry Austin's inking this stuff, and Bob Wyachek's inking, just beautiful stuff. I'm not in their league, but to his credit, and I adore Chris to this day for it, he said, yeah, sure, I'll do a miniseries with Al. And apparently, he told me at one time that was, I don't know if this still holds true, but he said it was the favorite miniseries that he did. And it's not because my art was so great, but he loved the story that he came up with. And he did, he liked the Kitty Pryde character a lot. Chris always leaned towards the female characters. He always put a lot of emphasis on them. If he was discussing a character, oh, we're going to do a new villain, any reason it couldn't be a woman? He was very, very liberal-minded, because a lot of the fans and cartoonists, they want a big macho villain, and they're fighting the big macho superheroes. And he was fine doing the distaff side of things. So, he was, I don't think he ever said, Al, you did a spectacular job or anything like that. But the fact that he was so happy with the way the series turned out, I was very glad about that. And it did sell quite well, and the royalties or incentives were very nice on it. I made one major mistake on it, and that was I designed all the covers to have a line down the center, because the idea was I was doing, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, and I sort of came up in my head with the idea that each one would have a split cover, so it was a thematic look to them.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning in here. You can see on the first one, it's Kitty is stepping out of her hometown across a vertical line on the cover to Tokyo, and it's the buildings and the Japanese lettering, and I think I stole it off some candy bars I bought somewhere. I don't even know where I got this stuff. So it's a nice cover. I'm happy with it, except Wolverine in that issue doesn't appear till like the last page. So he's on maybe a panel or two in the whole story. So I thought, well, I don't want to fool the fans into thinking that he's major in the storyline in the first issue. Kitty gets into trouble. She calls him. He says, "I'll be right there," and he heads to Japan. So I said, I'll be honest, I won't put him on the cover. And the first issue did not sell nearly as well as Wolverine stuff was selling in those days, because I didn't draw the character on the cover. Stupid. Lie to the fans. Let them think he's in there. He was in the corner box on the cover right there.
Yeah.
And so that was true. But, in the meantime, I probably cost myself several thousands of dollars. The next issue, did you have any specific questions?
No, I love it. No.
You want me to ramble?
I haven't read it all yet. We're going to get into it in October, but I was wondering.
Oh yeah, let me know if you.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's a great point.
I won't address the interior stories. It's a very nice sort of a coming of age story for Kitty, and it's a struggle between this evil bad guy whose name I'm now forgetting. But he wears that mask, the demon mask, most of the time. What the heck was his name? I could look it up. Anyway, so it's a struggle for her soul between the bad guy and Wolverine. So the second cover is split down the middle. One half is Kitty's face, the other half is the demon mask, and one side is the bad guy and one side is Wolverine. Next cover. Kitty is she's fighting Wolverine because she's sort of been taken over by the dark side. Apologies to George Lucas. She's holding a sword. The sword, there's a gleaming, reflection on the sword. That makes the vertical line on that cover. You see how that, it's the gleam there.
Yep.
And they actually used that Wolverine figure. They made a T-shirt with that on it, which I really,
oh really? No,
yeah,
nice.
I really liked it. I got one and then wore it until it wore out.
Yeah.
And now I'd like to make another version of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next cover. This is number 4. It's Kitty holding up a samurai sword in its sheath. Wolverine standing behind her and in back of her, holding a staff, and the staff is now the dividing vertical on the cover. The next one is a big headshot of Wolverine with his claws extended, and the middle claw is the dividing line.
Love it.
With Kitty on one side and Ogun, I believe was his name, Ogun, the bad guy, facing off against each other. And the final issue is Ogun on one side, wearing the demon mask, swinging his blade in a very sharp arc, and the downswing of the blade, that's the dividing line on the cover. I actually thought this stuff out. Can you believe it? And Kitty in between, and Wolverine on the other side. You know, and he and Ogun are basically facing off against each other. Wolvie with his claws, of course. Ogun with his sword, of course. And Kitty sort of divided by the swipe of the sword, not hit by the sword, but just the line, you know. So I actually thought this out. I had a thematic thing going. The other thing I did, and this is something I became aware of. Apparently, you know, Marvel at the time was getting heavily into the direct market, and they had different markings on the cover for the direct market stuff as opposed to regular newsstand sales. And the things they had little, where are they? You know, under the corner box they had the little price and month of the book, and that usually had a different outline around it. Okay, and also, yeah. Okay, well, see, this one's confusing to me because I found out that on direct sales copies, you could eliminate the UPC box. That's a little box with a universal pricing code with all those parallel lines that computers read them or scanners read them.
They would do the Spider-Man head a lot.
On the direct sales, very often, yes, they would do a Spider-Man head or a Spider-Man figure or occasionally some other character, depending, you know, if they were doing something different or special. But I hate those things. They're ugly. They were a business necessity. We got to have something that the scanners can read. But you didn't have to have them on the direct sales markets because there was no reading it, and you didn't have to read what the price was. The comic shop dealers said, yeah, that's 75 cents. They knew what it was by looking at the actual price. So I designed a pretty fair number of covers to try to eliminate those, not have the UPC box or the little Spider-Man head. And I did that by having a lot of all black or all white areas behind that part of the cover where the UPC box was. And I designed all 6 of these to get rid of it, and they managed to still keep it on 2 of them. So 4 of these covers, this one, it was gone. Let's see, can we find it? Well, I'll tell you from the little ones here. This one, because it was on the black driveway, the first issue, it was gone. This one, because it's against the black of her tunic, is gone. This one, it was gone because it was all white. This one, again, all black. This one, it was a coloring problem because it was an orange cover. And so they couldn't get rid of it. But what I wanted them to do on this one, which they did do on this one, the 6th one, is I had the colorist fade the colors from dark green to a lighter green to white. Could have been a little smoother, but still. So this area was white, and so what you have on the direct sales copies is Ogun's foot is solid black, although for some reason I left a little white highlight in it, which looks stupid now. One guy brought it up to the sign. I said, can I just black that in? He said, yeah, go ahead. You're the artist. I blacked it in. But so it's just Ogun's foot there. Here it looks like he's wearing a big box on his foot. But so, you know, I actually, and I did that on a number of Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man covers where I designed it specifically to eliminate the damn UPC box. And no matter how many notes I attached or how many times I told the editors, either the editor or somebody at the engravers or the printers forgot to do it, and it still ended up with an ugly little box on it. My new 20-year-old popular character, the Spot, who's in the new Spider-Verse movie, there's a big round black circle on the cover right behind the UPC box, which was an ideal way to hide it on the direct sales copies, and they put the little Spider-Man head in there anyway. And that was frustrating because I really liked that cover. And I thought it was very eye-catching and striking. And the character, I mean, go figure 30 years later. Yeah, more like 20, I guess. But 20, 25. Suddenly he's in a movie and he's a big deal. So, Marvel does that. They keep resurrecting things that I worked on 20, 30, 40 years ago. And it's like, oh, look, Al's current again. So, you know, they got the spot. I happened to ink the first cover with the Black Cat for reasons sort of I'm maybe dimly aware of, because Keith Pollard, who's an excellent artist, did the whole interior, had done a cover, and they called me up and said, we need an emergency cover, and they had me redo it based on a Dave Cockrum sketch. I think because they wanted the Black Cat facing the audience. In Keith's, she was jumping in from off panel, so you see more of her back. And they said, exciting new character. Let's show her from the front. The Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, which I worked on one of the very earliest iterations of them back in Marvel. What was it? Marvel Comics Presents or Premiere? I don't remember the title, but you know, it had a 9-issue run. Didn't do great. You know, some people liked it. Steve Gerber and Roger Stern, I think, were the writers. Gerber was always a maniac, and it was very odd and different. So that was going on back then. You know, I happened to ink the first cover that Moon Knight ever appeared on over Gil Kane, Werewolf by Night issue. I'm sure the fans are aware. So, you know, every time I think, well, they can't find anything else of mine to show off that matters to anybody, but by gosh, they do. Yeah. So, you know, and then I get to sign more copies of that at conventions and stuff, so it's great for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's probably my main association, is just that 6-issue run I did with Chris.
That's cool.
And I inked it myself, which was fairly rare. I didn't usually ink my own interior work. Covers very often. Interiors very rarely. I only did these 6 issues, and oh gee, I don't know. Once in a blue moon, I do another full issue, just for the heck of it, just for fun.
Yeah.
I like the way I ink my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I had you know, guys, better inkers than me doing a lot of my work. Joe Sinnott, you know, inked a ton of it. I always liked when Klaus Janson inked my work. Terry Austin, occasionally I would get. Wyacek. You know, so Jim Mooney, who was a great, solid old pro from the very early 40s, you know, did a lot of my Spider-Man stuff, and, you know, I could do breakdowns, which are looser drawings, so with the storytelling I could do, and they would do the finishing up and polishing it up, make it a more complete drawing. So I was very lucky that way. So that's, you know, I'm sure there's a few pages here and there I may have inked in some of these other issues in the omnibuses, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Not for sure.
That's great, though. I can't wait to read it. It looks like a fun series. I own the issues individually as well.
Sure.
But yeah, well.
Yeah, but probably you're better off ruining this.
Break it down.
Yeah. Yeah, and these are all X-Men except for my miniseries, I see. Oh, there's Alpha Flight.
Yep, they do a couple.
So, and I did have like an 8-year run on X Factor.
Oh,
as the inker. Yeah. So I did.
We're gonna do that one day. There's an X Factor omnibus out there somewhere.
Is there? Yeah, I'm sure. So it was a merry-go-round of pencilers. They kept bringing in. I don't know if they couldn't stand my inks or if they just would move on to different things, but there was just like tons of guys penciling X Factor. In a way, you know, it made it less consistent because you never knew who you were going to get. But it was fun for me because I got to work on a whole variety of different guys. I'll name a few. Walter Simonson, my good buddy, we were roommates for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was on the book when I think Wyacek was behind on an issue. They asked me to, do about half of one of those issues. And then I did a couple more issues over Walter. And then he left, and they put Art Adams on it for a couple issues. Art's a wonderful artist, spectacular stuff, very detailed. My page rate suddenly was lower because it took me so long to ink his stuff so detailed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but beautiful stuff. Happy to do it. And then over the course of those 8 years, I think Joe Quesada did a run on the book. Larry Stroman did a run on the book. Jan Duursma did a pretty long run on the book. Steve Epting, another really beautiful. His stuff, his pencils, to me, look like John Buscema inked by Tom Palmer.
Oh, wow.
That's what his pencils look like. So I'm sitting there trying to do justice to pencils that are that beautiful. But lovely drawing, wonderful use of blacks, very nicely designed. I think one of the Kubert brothers, I can't remember now if it was Andy or Adam. I think it was Andy, drew one issue.
Yeah.
Who else? Gosh, so many. I think, no, I can't remember. Well, I'm having a mental breakdown here. I can't remember all the guys. But a lot of guys only did like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 issues. And a lot of one-shots along the way, too. So I really got to ink a huge variety of different pencilers. Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then near the end, I inked, there was some young guy who was one of the hot young Turks. And I inked him, and I think I did a pretty good job. But he had a studio mate out in California who he wanted to hook him up. And he said, no, I want him inking my stuff, not that old Al Milgrom guy. And again, I mean, I can be fairly objective. I know my own strengths and weaknesses. I thought I did a pretty damn good job on this stuff. But he wanted his buddy to do it. Was it R.T. Bear? It might have been R.T. Bear as the inker. I'm not sure. It's been too long. But so they finally said, yeah, we'll get Al something else to do. And so he got his buddy to ink it, and within 2 issues they were off the book.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then within a few more issues after that, they canceled the book. So you know, I'd been on it for 8 years. They should have let me finish the run.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But no, you know, nepotism wins again. So anyway, that's my sad story at the end. But yeah, it was crazy times. And again, I enjoyed inking all the different pencils that I got to ink on that.
Nice.
Anything you want to say or ask?
Nope, this is awesome, Al. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about it. If you mind signing the inside for me.
I would be happy to.
Awesome.
And for you,
Yeah.
no charge.
Yeah. Thanks, Al. Appreciate you, brother.
Sure.
And there you have it, an amazing interview. Al, thank you so much again for the opportunity. It really was a blast hanging out and talking with you. Again, if anybody ever sees Al, reach out to him, show him some love and support. And I also want to take a moment to shout out Hershey Con and Joe. He's the sponsor the promoter who runs the show. It happens every year. It's now a 2-day event that happens in Hershey. If you're in the Pennsylvania area, keep an eye out for that. I'll put their link in the description below for the next date coming up. I believe it's coming up in August this time around, but it's a great show, and that's the opportunity I had there from last year. So maybe I'll see you at the next one. But either way, thank you so much for taking time to watch the video. Remember that this Tuesday coming up, we'll be back Omni X-Men on this channel, 9 o'clock Eastern, to break down the last 2 issues of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, issues number 5 and 6. So hopefully we'll see you there live in the chat. But otherwise, take a moment, smash that like button, and until next time, I'll talk to you later.